Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you all for being here. Today I want us to focus on how do we support the remembrance of our true identity, because in the process of trying to project the beyond time and space command outside of ourselves, what we have to do is that we have to remember our identity as to who we really are. But before we get into this, I want to remind you of a few things. When we create this, we verbally express this command and we say be gone time and space out loud. It is a command that comes, it's not just a command, but it's a decree to the entire universe that comes from a long meditation and the building up of power and resonance between true inner meditation and a connection to our godly power. Let me explain. In the Kabbalah, the divine name of God, the unpronounceable name of God, it's called unpronounceable because it's made of 4 consonants. It's Yod, He, Vav, He. So He is repeated twice. There is no consonant in between it, therefore you can't pronounce it. And it's hidden. However, in the first and second temple, the high priest would spend an entire year in silent meditation, asking God for guidance as to figure out what vowel exists between Yod, He, and Vav, He. Okay? And adding them together to see what utterance or word came through, and at the appropriate moment during a ritual, yearly ritual, that priest would pronounce in his own voice, throat chakra related, the resonance, the frequency, and the vibration that's connected to what he perceived in his silent meditation. The idea of spending time focusing on the silent meditation to connect to, again, that pronunciation, when you connect to it, actually allow you to connect to your power as a co-creator with God. Because when you utter it, it's the same word or the same frequency and vibration that God enunciated at the moment of creation. If we are to believe what John first chapter of John and first verse said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. So the utterance and God are the same. So to be able to pronounce it and say it through your own vessel, which means that each one of us, 8 billion people, and how many trillions and trillions of us and gazillion of us exist in there are sentient beings that exist in the entire universe. We are a unique manifestation of the divine, which means what? We descended. We were inside of God, manifested outside, the exhalation of God, descended into 3D, and we are on our ascent and our way back. And each one of us took a unique path. And therefore, my utterance and your utterance and your utterance and everybody else's utterance are going to be slightly different, because the lens through which I will sense that original vibration, that original frequency, that original sound, for me to mirror, echo, and express it out, it's going to be unique to me. Therefore, it has to be my own voice. And for that to happen, I have to spend a lot of time in meditation. I have to spend a lot of time connecting to an understanding that once I understand the utterance, I have now to change my identity. Not change, but I have to emancipate my identity into understanding that I am the God force manifests. I am the complete God force manifest. And when I utter, and it doesn't matter how the utterance happens, how I express the begotten time and space, that's not how you're supposed to express it. It has to be you. It has to be your voice. And for some of you, it might be just a whisper. For others, it might be a little bit louder. And for you, and it's not the loud or the volume. It's the authority and the power that's in your knowing that you are the God force. And when you express this, when you manifest this and you utter it, the God force holds in its hand with that vibration the power to create. Creation. And so it's important for us to understand those nuances so that we can begin to and again, when you think about it for a second, I personally understood on a more instinctual level, because in 2010, Lord Melchizedek had come to me and asked me to create an ascension wave, and he did a big channeling, and there were lots of people involved on the conference call that were interested in following Lord Melchizedek on this path of ascension. He called it an ascension wave, and he was going to teach them the teaching of the order of Melchizedek, and people were interested. They were all gung-ho, but nobody wanted to do the real work to refine their consciousness, to make sure that in your silent meditation, because if you're uttering out that word of creation and you are out of alignment, you have internal conflicts and battle, you have a part of you that's in rage, or that's grieving, or that's feeling victimized, that's what's going to manifest. That's what you're going to push into the world. So Lord Melchizedek was very careful. Now, in hindsight, I didn't understand it at the time. In hindsight, now I get it. It was 2010. All these people were there. They all dropped out, except for you that remains behind. They all dropped out because they wanted immediate gratification. They wanted that stuff like this. Show us what to do. Let's manifest the power. They wanted the shiny stuff. Let's make the world shake. Let's create. And none of them wanted to do the real work of taming their negative ego, having social intelligence, having emotional intelligence, understanding the temperance that you need to have to project into the world what is the most important thing. I'm going to share with you the real secret to project that energy out. The true secret. You have to move through the world kindly. Which means what? That if the power is in speech and vocalization, you have to make sure that your words and what you express are impeccable. You speak only the truth. You express only what has, you don't damage or create any chaos with your words. You express what is only holy and that will bring reconciliation and healing in you and in other people. That's the reason why every spiritual teacher or lineage that I know, the teachers spend years meditating in silence. Years. Whether it was the first Buddha, Gautama, under a Buddha tree, whether it was Amma that spent 10 years in the forest in meditation, and the meditation was so long, she spent 10 years immobile, not moving. The children, when they went in the forest, thought that she was a statue. They threw a rock at her. She was covered with dust. In deep and profound meditation, trying to connect and remember who she is. Because when you speak from that authority and that command, understanding I am the God force and I are one, and you speak what you speak, The entire multiverse will listen, because you're not talking about triviality. You're not talking about gossip. You're not spending your time wasting your vocal powers in things that are unimportant. One of the biggest problems that we have right now, before I get into this, I want to share with you something that happened between me and a friend of mine who had contacted me about a certain crisis that he was having, and emotional and very upset and all of that, waking me up in the middle of the night and telling me some situation that was critical for him and all of that, and so on and so forth. Now, I understood at that moment, as he was explaining to me, I woke up 12 at night, midnight, and he's telling me, sharing with me this thing. I understood at that moment that he had co-created this as well. He had a 50% part in this as well. Now, granted, the echo and how it manifested was damaging and very emotionally cruel to him. But he co-created it. I saw it so clearly, but I could not say it to him at that moment because he was in pain, he was in fear, and he was hurt. Move to the world kindly. I can't say it to him. All I said to him, I said, I'm sorry for your struggle. I'm sorry that you're dealing with this. Is there anything I can do for you? I'm going to pray for you. Let me know how I can support you. At some later point, when he's not in the crisis that he's on, I will bring the topic up to see if he's capable of handling my perception. It is not all truth that needs to be said. That's the point. Master Jesus was a genius at this. When he was talking to children, he would, like for example, the story of the prodigal son, that was talking to children, and he was saying some deep, profound spiritual truth. There is a way to scale down an information that's very high to a level of, so your utterance can be modulated to bring it to a level that somebody who has a lesser light or who is struggling can comprehend. This is why I said I don't open a lot of time to my clients and sometimes cancel appointment or reschedule appointment, because I feel I am still charged, and I would go into the meeting I can feel this energetically. I would go into the session with them and I would say the wrong thing and cause them harm. I have to move to the world kindly. And I have to understand that I have to modulate my understanding. The more wisdom you have, the more you monitor what you're saying. The more power you have, the more you monitor what you're saying. Because what is wisdom? It's power used rightly. I have to modulate everything that I'm saying. And I understood that at that point, where he is right now with crisis, he needs to be settled another 2 to 3 weeks before I can even bring that conversation to him. He's willing to listen to me spiritually and follow my guidance. So I think at some point, if not in 3 weeks, maybe in 2 months, I can bring the topic up and say, you had some accountability into this. But right now, he cannot hear it, because he's in too much pain. So I'm using this as an actual example to help you understand how that power, the utterance, will come to you when you're able to modulate. You will find your voice when you're able to sense when to speak and when to remain silent. It's not all truth that need to be said all the time, everywhere. There are certain things that you see, you have to swallow the key and say nothing. it could be for a whole lifetime, or it could be at the moment, until God give you the guidance and the opportunity to maybe share it with somebody, or somebody who's prepared to hear it. Because even if you say it, your stone will be thrown at you. They will not believe you, and more importantly, they will say that you're fear-mongering and you're a charlatan. When you understand this, you cultivate the power of your speech. You cultivate the ability to save your voice for what's important. And when you need to utter it, you say it with authority. You say it from a place of knowing and a place of certainty. And when that happens, every principalities that holds the 3D reality of lack and of fear in place will listen, and they will obey, because you have the authority. You cultivated so long the restriction that needs to come with your speech, with your utterance, and the vibration of the frequency of creation. There needs to be restrictions, because there are times where you can't say certain things. There is control. That's how you achieve control. This is the reason why all of these teachers spend years and years and years in meditation. Because they were connected. It's not just that it makes them feel good, but they were connecting with trying to find their own remembrance of their voice, and more importantly, to know through and through the torsion field and their connection to the antakarana, that they are a touching ground, an anchoring point for the God force. And more importantly, the unique way in which the God force is anchored in them. When you know this through and through, nothing can touch you. Because the moment you know who you are, nothing can stop you. So it's important for us to understand this and to cultivate this. A lot of times, not you guys, when you text me, I answer almost immediately. But a lot of time when new clients or people I know more casually send me messages, I don't answer right away. Or if I answer, or even email me, I draft something, a response, but I don't respond. I don't automatically respond. And I spend several days meditating, because a lot of time when I go back, I realize, because Pierre, 3D Pierre, can be rough around the edges. I can say things that are so, particularly when I don't have my coffee in the morning. I can be really curt and really rough. Okay? And so I want to make sure that I'm coming from a place of ascendance. And a lot of time I would draft it, at least spend 24 hours. Sometime, I remember one time I was having some problem with my group, and in this group of people who had their own ego agenda, and I witnessed a whole bunch of them plot and create all kind of shenanigans and do all kinds of. For 8 months, I knew what they were doing. I witnessed the whole thing, and I spent the whole time witnessing them saying nothing. I witnessed it. I knew what they were doing. And more importantly, the more you're that silent, the more they reveal themselves. One of them came to me. Oh yeah, when we leave here, we go and have our own private meeting. We're gonna take over. We're gonna change everything around here. They were plotting to change everything. I just didn't say anything. And when it was the time to appropriately speak, I spoke with decisiveness and with authority. If I don't speak It's not because I'm afraid of you. It's because I'm giving you time to reflect on what you're doing so that you can self-correct. I'm giving you an opportunity to evolve and to grow. Because when I make a decision and when God decides that it's over, it's over. It's like a rope that breaks and it's not repairable. So a lot of times, and I've shared this with my clients, those of you who've been with me for a long time, you know I've been saying this all the time. I'm not as dumb as I look. I don't miss a thing. But I don't need to go tit for tat with everything. I have far better things to do. It's too exhausting. Because if I go at it with you at every point, you're gonna lie to me. You're gonna say blah blah blah. When in fact, I'm sensing the energetic intention. I can see the truth. Be aware of this in your cultivation of your own voice. That it's not. And I'm going to go further. I'm going to go even deeper. Right now, with AI. Okay. So artificial intelligence is supposed to be intelligent, right? But I can tell you it's not. In the Kabbalah, the biblical story of the golden calf, when Moses was in Mount Sinai and getting the tablets, the Ten Commandments, and came down and saw that the idolatry of the golden calf and all that, he got upset according to the Bible and threw the tablet, and God forced smited the golden calf and killed a whole bunch of people, and he slaughtered a whole bunch of them to make everything right in front of God. What the Kabbalah says and the Zohar says is something very different. The golden calf was not a solid statue that was fixed and that someone was worshiping. It was actually a technology that was used where you ask it a question, it would give you an answer that seems so plausible and really connected to you. That's why the people give their power to the golden calf. AI is the golden calf of this age. Now AI can do a lot. I don't want to throw the technology completely out. AI can do a lot of things. If you're doing research and you need research about this, that, or the other, it could do a lot of that for you very easily and very fast. But people who are writing books by giving a prompt and writing a paragraph, and AI generated books of 200 pages with this is all bogus, and all of it is all fluff. It's allegories and things that are so disjointed. It doesn't. None of it makes sense. Now, if you're doing research project, AI serve you. If you're doing, let's say, for example, this morning when I woke up, there was the boom that happened last night. It was actually, I didn't know what it was. I asked Google AI, was there a fireworks? Because I suspect it was fireworks around Manhattan yesterday. And then AI came in with an entire explanation. It was a wedding that was happening at Pier 60. AI is great for this. If I were to actually try to search this myself, I would have to call the police. It would have to be it happened in seconds, literally. The technology is important, but it's how we use it. If you use it to give your power to it and ask him to make decisions for you, which is what a lot of people, these young kids and that are working in a lot of the companies right now, they're asking AI to make decisions for them. If it's what you're doing, then what you're reading, and depending on how you're interacting with the AI or what you're typing, the prompt you're typing is also altering your ability to create, because you're giving your power away to that AI, thinking that the AI is my friend and knows me so well. And you keep, the more you think, and in fact, Harvard University is a whole bunch of study on this. They gave AI a whole bunch of business questions. All the platform, they did the same thing, and all of them made the same errors. And asked AI to decide certain things about different choices. What AI did is that the first prompt that you said, do you think giving the choice between this and do you think I should do this? If you ask AI this, you give your power away. And AI will come back with query, with information to support the first thing that you're trying to, that you were trying to, the first thing that you thought it was the correct thing for you to say. Now, having said this, there again, as I said, there are different ways of using it. More importantly, what we have to worry about AI as well is that AI have what is called hallucinations. Okay, hallucination or incorrect information. First of all, AI doesn't think. What AI does in all the instances is that it surveys everything that's in the internet relating to that topic, and it brings you in there the most common denominator that exists in the internet, the most probable thing that exists in the internet. It doesn't think. So if there is fake news, like for example, somebody create an AI that says that Pierre did XYZ, blah blah blah, which is a fake thing that's created, and it populates everywhere, and then somebody puts my name in and they bring it up, it will actually include that in the query and return it back. Pierre did XYZ, which isn't completely fake. It's an hallucination. It doesn't have the ability to know, to examine and say, wait a minute, this is not fake news. That's not the kind of person that he is. His character is not this way. Or they create improbable meeting. This politician met with that one and said this, da, 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 and a whole exchange happened, and that you see it online. And when you and I know this, when you're like, well, they never met. That's not true. That never happened. But AI doesn't know this. And because it's out there, somebody asks about the politician, that return comes back as fact. Anyway, I wanted to mention this because I want you to understand that the more you're connected to this, you have to use that technology with restraint. We can't put AI back in the box. That technology is there to stay, but we have to use it with restraint. Again, control. Because otherwise it will recapitulate our power very quickly. There are people who have created AI agent to work for them, to do all kind of business related work for them. And by the end of it, you begin to realize, like Amazon and a lot of these other, and even Google, that the agent is making catastrophic mistake, and you have to go back and correct hours upon hours. And loss of potential customers. Anyway, I want you to let's go back to this idea of finding our identity, knowing who we are and what we are. Oh, by the way, any question, any comments so far before I continue?
I do have a question here about that very subject. If people like Amma have spent 10 years in meditation to discover their identity and liberate their identity as God force, do we have the same projection of time needed to find our own?
We are not armor, okay? So
So
that's
it
the
might
first
take
thing.
longer.
No, no, no. What I'm saying is that we are not Amma. Amma is she's a deity. She's the incarnation of a goddess. She's Sarasvati. So she needed that time, and she's even said it a couple of times. You're not like me. You don't need to do what I did exactly. But she is encouraging all of her students, everybody that follows her, all the devotees, to meditate more, remain in silence. As a matter of fact, when she comes here in June 21st, 20th and 21st, the Sunday thing that she's doing is a silent meditation. This is why you go for the silent meditation, because it allows you to go within and to examine and again connect to. And one moment of silent meditation, because we're so external in the West and we're talking and we're doing all these, we're distracted by so many external things. A moment of silent meditation can bring a lot of goods to our ability to connect to our own voice and to our own true identity. So you don't need to spend 10 years. I wouldn't be able to sit still and be immobile for 10 years. That would never happen. I can do a half lotus, but a full lotus, I'd have to wait for the next lifetime. Because my back begins to hurt, my butt, all kinds of things begin to happen, and I can't continue it. I've been in ashram in India, I can tell you that, and sitting in the stone floor for hours to wait for Sai Baba to come in was actually the most difficult part. They even sold a little kind of seat with a cushion and something for your back because I'm not designed to do this. I'm Western oriented. It's very, I can do it, but it's very hard for me to do it. It causes tremendous discomfort and pain in my body. So, to answer your question, you don't have to spend 10 years. Can you spend half a day in silent meditation? Or can you, throughout the day, monitor and control when you speak? It doesn't have to be a full silent meditation at a stretch, but monitor what you say. Like when my friend was in crisis, I was sharing with you. Instead of me, and I saw the truth. He has a 50% responsibility, but he's in pain. He's suffering because of this. There was a backlash because of what he initiated. He meant good. What he was trying to do came from a place of really trying to be good for everyone. But it created a backlash, and the backlash hurt him. I can't tell them at this point that you have to take responsibility because you initiated, you acted incorrectly, and your intention was good. Even you can hear this right now. So I saw it. Hold my peace. Swallow the key. Hold my peace. I may or I may not have the conversation with him, depending on how he is a few weeks from now. I may have it if he's prepared and ready, or I may not have it at all. Because it's not all things that I see that I have to say. There are things that I see about the future. There are certain parts I can't share it. Even when Spirit reveals it to me, they said to me, do not reveal this to the world yet. No. And in fact, when the fan opens up and I'm seeing multiple things, a lot of times the things I'm not supposed to share begin to be erased. Like someone take a big eraser and is erasing it out, and I can't see it anymore. And it fades out of my consciousness.
I can understand what you're saying. Even just today, uh, I felt the need to say something, but the reluctance to express what I needed to say until I found a way to say it kindly.
Mhm.
And I understand that part of it. In terms of the meditation, the silent meditation, would we set an intention or just sit and let whatever thoughts come
So I do both.
rise?
I do both. So there are moments I set an intention. There are other moments where I sit to enjoy the free air.
Mhm.
When I go into what the torsion field is complete, I'm so liberated, I'm so free, I just sit in it with no agenda. And when I sit like this, the most improbable things happen. Breakthrough and insight. All of a sudden, something wash over me, something click that I didn't see before. Something I was not querying, something I was not bringing up, just shows up. And it connects me more and more to my identity, to who I am. And the more you sit in connection with the torsion field, the more you will begin to remember your verticality, who you really are. And that's what's going to allow you, when you sit a big on time and space, for the magic to really happen.
That takes me to another question, if I may.
Yes,
I listened to the class last week.
yes,
Thank you very much for sending that, by the way. And at one point, if I'm not mistaken, you were saying to say it silently, beyond time and space,
yes,
and at another time, express it out loud.
yes.
So, would you describe when we are to do which one?
So the begone time and space repeated silently in our heart. It's during the meditation practice. So you're doing the torsion field, and every time you finish the first torsion field, you get the first torsion field. And by the way, I want you to focus only in torsion field of neutrality. So instead of saying torsion field light, protection, and neutrality, just focus only on neutrality. Because, okay, we are very linear in 3D. Spirit corrected me of the past week. We're very linear. When things are multiple other feelings and higher emotion or on top of each other, we are not going to perceive it in our own 3D frontal lobe consciousness. What we need to focus on is just say torsion field of neutrality. And if we can do this only, after we said first torsion field of neutrality created around me, and once it's created, then you repeat silently to yourself, be gone time and space, but in silence. And you let the vibration and the frequency of that inner utterance shift you in whatever way it wants to shift you,
Okay.
and see what it does to your voice.
Okay. Thank you.
You understand? And you do that for all the torsion, and once that is done, when you're doing the actual practice of the external expression of the begone time, we're going to go over that in a second. The actual external expression of the begone time is when you do that practice, then you say it out loud. In other words, it's the same thing that the high priest in Israel, in Jerusalem, would say with the Yod He Vav He. You silently think of the word and let the vibration and the frequency shift you. Shift your vocal cord. Connect you with the power and the resonance that's needed so that when you externally express it, it comes from true power.
And you know, the thought that occurred to me as you were talking about the missing vowels, and maybe everybody, oh, this may be too far-fetched, but maybe everybody has a different vowel.
Yes, yes. It's not too
Oh,
far-fetched.
okay.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
That's exactly right. That's why each one of you have your own unique voice, because you cascaded down from source and manifested in physical reality. You took a unique path, and you're on your way back. Your ascent is also a unique path. None of us will alter it exactly the same way.
So it's not just the manner of expressing the word, uh, or the begone time and space, but in the case of the name of God, it is the actual pronunciation of the vowels that change.
That's correct. So the I could be an however your body will know.
How do you spell, if you would phonetically spell that consonant abundant name of God?
The unpronounceable name is Yod He Vav He.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And again, all Kabbalah will tell you that's the unpronounceable name, and no one can utter that name unless you spend years. Oh, and again, here is a deeper practice, and I've shared this with you before. Let me remind you. I shared it in the last class. Let me remind you again. Aside from the high priest, the true Kabbalist that spend years in cave meditating, there is a special practice that's connected them to Bina, the third Sephiroth. Bina was known as the fertile mother and the infertile mother. So they would go once a year at the new moon, when there was no moon outside, in the Dead Sea after spending years of meditating on the name to find what's pronounceable to them. And they would go into the Dead Sea, a sea that's so salty that nothing is alive in it. Like Bina, the infertile mother. You know, all life came from the sea. So they went literally into Lalita. If you remember last year when Amma was around, she was doing the 1008 name of the version of God from Lalita. Lalita, who is the mother of God. That's where she was in Bina. They would go into the sea, and they would let the water of the Dead Sea go all the way up to their chin. And from there, when they felt they were ready, they would utter the name on the water and let manifestation and creation show up from the womb of God, the background out of which the light creates from emptiness. It's very profound when you think about this. And Bina flips from being infertile to fertile. So out of the infertility, she can become fertile. She will create life at the right condition. Now, I want to talk for a moment about the actual projection of the beyond time and space and how that actually occurs, right? So, when you use your hand, because what we are doing is that we are creating an exception. We are banishing time and space. When you say begone time and space, everything in the multiverse, every principality that's holding, including the demiurge, that's holding time and space in place, you're banishing them with just the utterance, the proper utterance in your own voice of the begone time and space. But let me explain to you the detail on how you're doing this. If you remember at Reside, Georgie was doing mudras, okay? Remember this as a mudra, and then the hand fold, all the various mudras that he was showing us. Mudras or hand movement, because energy that we hold in us flows out of our fingers and our hand. When you go like this and you say begone time and space, it's a mudra, and you're canceling by the utterance of this word and the release of the energy that's in your body, not only from your voice but from your hand. You're releasing and banishing time and space that's being held in place by the demiurge. The entire construct and Zerapin that's being holding the metrics of lack and fear is being banished by you saying begone time and space and holding it. And as you hold it, when you say space, the whole antakarana shifts. It shifts from you and goes somewhere in the room. or the volume, the mountain, the community, or the people, whomever you're trying to support. It goes on top of them. And as you, with your eyes open, and wherever you stare at, that's where your consciousness is going to go. So when you say be gone time and space, stare out in front of you, and when you release, you say space and you release it, you have to understand, you have to come from power. You are a manifestation of the God force, and you're saying be gone time and space, and you're casting out everything that's 3D related to do what? To create an exception where you're going to now, from the Lalita and the Dead Sea, create an exception to manifest a different condition and creation that's going to be beneficial for the people and the environment you're trying to protect. Be gone time and space, and you hold it, and then with your eyes you hold and you sense where the energy is gone, and hold your eyes in it and witness as the first guardian comes, counter rotating from the core of the earth. And as the guardian begins to move upward, breathe with them. Second guardian. Third guardian. And as this happens, all 12 torsion fields are created, and by the time that's done, the 12 guardians have stepped in to project neutrality in the environment you're trying to intercede for. Now, you may add something else to it. You may say, for example, peace to the world, or bring love to everyone, make everybody act kindly. But I personally find that the moment I create it and I hold it, everything in neutrality, everybody else, because neutrality is such a big umbrella, the moment it's radiated out and it's all about neutrality, the disconnection, the casting out and the banishment of all lack initially with the big on time and space, immediately everyone is protected, and they will fall and become connected to the blessing that the neutrality environment gives to them, to the degree that they know what neutrality is. Again, people all have different karma, they're in different places. It's not for me to tell them what to do. Unlike the Bene Gesserit, who mind control people with their voice in the Doom Saga, we're not mind controlling anyone. We're just creating an umbrella of neutrality around them and let them remember and entrain in that neutrality to the degree that they are capable of entraining. And it will shift them somewhere else. And their behavior will change. It's important for us to understand this because we don't want to interfere with anyone's karma. We don't want to carry anyone's karma. We are just trying to support and give them, maybe in this instance, it might be a temporary relief that might last 24 hours or 8 hours, 9 hours, just to make sure that the environment and the atom, the molecules, the insects, the plants that exist, the animals that exist in that environment, all of them will be shifted. It's not for me to, again, as I said, tell you specifically how to do things and what to do and what not to do. This is, as I said, it's a stick figure thing, and the stick figure is neutrality. Now, when we are at the time of the galactic equator crossing, it will be more complex, a little bit more sophisticated. We will create the big on time and space and manifest it this way, but at this point we will project what? Give a safe passage into the new earth. Safe passage into the new earth. But for now, for the practice you're doing in your home once a week, as you're projecting this outside, just neutrality. Again, as you become more aware of your voice and the power that exists in your voice, you will learn how to control and temper again. Move to the world kindly. You will learn how to speak when it's necessary and hold your peace when it's not necessary. It's not everything that you see that you need to there is a thing in the light community. The moment you see something, oh, I see a ghost around you. I see blah blah blah. And I see. It's this. It's like somebody gave them itching powder. It's this verbal diarrhea. There's no reason why everything that you see you have to share with everyone. That's coming from negative ego. You see it in the eyes of people who have real power and abilities. When you go receive a blessing from Amma, she has a way of looking at you with kindness and with love, and she said only what you need to hear. And you can tell that she's processing, she's seeing a lot more than what she's saying. But she's saying exactly what you need to hear and no more and no less. I remember one time, as a matter of fact, that's a funny thing. I was invited. This was years ago. I have a friend who was a doctorate in psychology and was teaching at Baruch College. And because of what I do, he invited me for his master's program to do a coaching for his students. And the student was describing a situation. Each one of them got up, they were doing practical and they were describing it, and he was asking me to react. And I realized something. And this is a friend that knew me very well, as he was the student presented something, and as the student was talking, he saw my face change. And he said to me, "You have an insight, but you're not sharing it." I said yes, because I wasn't sure that the student was prepared to hear it. I said, "Would you mind sharing it with us?" And when I said what I said, the student was like, "Oh my God, I would have never thought of this. I would have never thought of this." A lot of time you perceive things, you don't have to, again, tit for tat. No. I remember that incident because I was not going to share that information. The student didn't catch it, but my friend who knew me, he caught it. And he's like, "I can see that look in your face. You caught something. What is it that you perceive that you're not telling us?" And when I said it, the student said, thank you. I would have never thought of this. You mean I can help my client by telling them, it was a dissociation. This client was blaming themselves as guilt, having done something bad, etc. And what I presented was that it's a part of him that did these bad things, but the rest of him is not a bad person. So if you can separate the two and put the other part in a chair, the two of them can have a conversation. That was the insight that came through. But I thought to myself, these students or learning normal psychology, I can't say this. They're going to think I'm crazy. I'm cuckoo. But my friend encouraged me. Tell them. That's why I brought you here. Tell them. So you're going to learn how to modulate and how to build that power. And what it's going to do, particularly when you do the torsion field and you're going at every torsion field, beyond time and space, and you're going to let the frequency and the vibration, it's going to help you find a way to utter it that's exactly connected to your true identity as you descend, and you're sending back. Because that's what you're doing now. You're reclaiming yourself. You're remembering who you are. That's why for the longest time before this practice, we used to do the torsion field, and at every torsion field, it was always, I remember myself in the 4th dimension. I remember myself in the 8th dimension. I remember myself in the 12th dimension. And so on, all the way back to God. Because you're trying to remember your identity. Now, how does the identity connect now to my voice? To the expression of my voice, and when I want to utter an exception in the world, to beneficially create an environment in which love, growth, healing can happen. How do I pronounce the word? And I'm going to say something else, and I think I may have mentioned it last time. Yeah, I think I did mention it last week. If we are in need right now, I know right now I'm just giving you a diagram. By the way, to make you understand how powerful this thing is, I knew how to do this. It was 2013 or 12 when the insight on how to do this came to me all at once. And I actually did it. It came with the knowing that I am the God Force. And the God Force and I are one. The entire column and I are integrated. And I knew I could do this. And I just did it. It's only now that I know how to teach it. Because the meaning it had for me, I could not communicate it as eloquently as I'm doing right now. I couldn't find the words to describe it. Because the state was so elusive to me. And so that the best way I could do the best way is like if I could split your head and put that inside of it. I didn't know with word how to describe that state of consciousness that I was in. More importantly, the group body that I was trying to teach it to were not ready. You all had not evolved enough to the point to have the maturity to be able to handle that information. And more importantly, I think Lord Melchizedek and God restricted me from going any further by not allowing me to utter and explain it any further because you were not ready. I've said to you before, that God does not give you what you want. It gives you what you need and when you need it. Any questions, any comments? I know this is the shiny stuff. to somebody who is listening to me for the first time, they want to jump in and think that, oh, that's the fancy stuff. Let me get in, blah blah blah. There's a lot of work to be done for you to get to where we are right now. Because you don't want to say begone time and space and push out your inner conflict, because you're not in neutrality, you're not at rest. You don't want to push out the your fear, your victimization. You don't want to push out, you know, the wrong stuff out, which is going to be an antithesis to you moving into the world kindly. And what's going to happen is that once you've done this, by the way, once the exception is created, the pitch in your ear is going to increase and get very high. The buzzing is going to get higher. Because at that point, you and the monad, you and God are one. And that sound, that frequency and that vibration, that sound comes directly as a direct connection to God. I've shared this with you before. I hear all kinds of things. Sometimes I think my phone is on. The phone is off. I have a code, you can't accidentally turn it on. And I'm walking down the street, I'm hearing bell, I'm hearing music, I'm hearing all kinds of things. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, the phone must be on because this is loud. And I open the phone is blank. There's it's not coming from the phone. It is actually music of the spheres. And it's an indication that you're doing it right, because you're hearing things that no one else around you is hearing, and it's coming from the higher realm.
There's this song over my head. I hear music in there. There must be a God somewhere.
Yep, yep,
Music of the
absolutely.
spheres, I heard when I went to bed one night, this is a couple of years ago, I asked to be able to hear the sound of the universe, the sound of space, the sound of planets, the sound of just the sound of creation. And when I woke, was just at that point of waking, but not fully awake and not asleep really, I heard this sound. It was so beautiful. It was like dissonance, but beautiful dissonance, because each and every member of this creation had a different sound, and it was not a harmony that one expects from our world.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh, don't let me wake up. Don't let me wake up. I wanted to listen, 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 listen. And I kept waking up. No, no, I don't want to like. But but that was the only time I heard it for an extended period of time. Oh, it was so beautiful.
You're right, Janice. You're absolutely right. And for me, I didn't have that exact experience, but for me, when I'm walking down the street and I do my deep meditation, sometimes I'm doing the torsion field or the breath, the universal breath, when I'm walking down the street, and all of a sudden I'm hearing toning. That's the closest I can get to. You're right. It's not exactly music,
Hmm.
because it's not the harmony that you and I would call music.
Or melody either.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not melody. It's not melody, but it sounds that are very specific
Yes.
and their own pitch, but
Yes.
very different than anything else I would expect.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
And sometimes the linger, one of them is very long and extended, and I'm like, okay, where is this coming from?
Mm, beautiful.
It's telling you that you're connected. Again, a lot of time I think my phone is on. Something happened, my phone is on. I put my hand in my pocket, I pull the phone is completely blank. There's nothing with the phone. It's not the phone.
There's always music in my head. I mean, but I don't think it's the same as what you're describing, even so. I mean, I never need a radio or a Spotify or whatever. I never need it because I always have music in my head.
Well, I'm being an opera singer for all these years. I'm not surprised at all.
Oh, it's not always opera, even.
That well, even better. It means that the music is in your core. It's somewhere deep within you, even pre-opera. So for me, it's not exactly music. You're right. It's not a melody, but it's sound. The closest I can come to, I would say, although it's not. When I say toning, it sounds like a human being making a sound. It's not. It doesn't feel like it's human,
No.
but it's that same kind of thing. It's an extended resonance.
Janice, I remember when you said you used to sing to the trees.
Yes, as a child, I would climb as high as I could to the tree, top of the tree, and I'd spend all afternoon singing, singing, singing to the sky, to the birds.
I
Just
recall that.
I don't know if you saw on the WhatsApp group. I put a video. There was a young man called that French guy called himself Plume, like feather in French.
Mhm.
And what he does is that he has a pink guitar and he goes in the enclosure of all kind of wild animal
Mm.
with the
Yes,
acoustic guitar and he starts singing to them.
yes.
You should see the way the animal react. And I'm talking about tiger, giraffe, elephant. And in one instance, that's the most dangerous thing I ever saw him do. He's at a swamp. All
Alligator.
these crocodiles are. And he starts playing. And it's dusk. All of the crocodile come within like 3 feet of him. Okay? And he sings the entire song, and the crocodile are just there looking at him, surrounding him completely, and then he ordered at the end, should we pet them now? He has an incredible gift of communicating with animal. He's such a gentle soul. I mean, incredible. Rabbit, parakeet, cockatoo, monkeys, you name it. Cows. He goes on the field and he's set up his microphone there and his guitar and he starts singing. And then wherever they are, they just come to him. It's a real gift to realize that you have that ability. And what an incredible. And again, think about it for a second. This is his puzzle piece. That is his gift. And that's what I mean about knowing who you are. Nothing, no one can take that away from him. He has the ability to communicate. This is a man that owns his voice. When he sings, all the animals on the planet hear him. This is an incredible power. Plume, Plume. If you
See,
go
I've
on,
seen him. Yeah.
you've seen him, yeah. He's extraordinary. I'm in awe. So and it's getting more and more. The crocodile was like I was like these things are gonna open their mouth and chomp on him. There was no, usually there's a tamer. There's somebody with a stick that pushed them out of the way. All of them, all around him. I don't know, there must have been 20 of them.
Mm, mm.
You have to be in neutrality. You have to know who you are and be in neutrality to be able to continue to sing and not get up, you pick up your guitar and run away.
So beyond time and space through his voice affected the animals, as you said, the plants, the people around him. Then he is in that place.
He's at rest. He's at rest and he's communicating the rest. All the animal. I didn't know that crocodile could actually hear sound like that. He's in such rest and neutrality that he's not afraid. Any other questions or comments? Let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll do the closing meditation. 5 minutes. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you and I let go. Please forgive me. I love you and I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. And notice what you noticed. Please forgive me. I love you and I let go. And the guardian alliance of light approach you, offering to give you their shields of neutrality and a band of non-interference. If you are ready to accept this gift at this time, answer affirmatively. And let the energy of the first guardian begin in the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving to the bottom of your feet, passing through your core, exiting outside of your head, and going into the top of the fourth dimensional body, while creating all around you. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of your head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the second guardian, cascading down from source, rotating clockwise, dropping into the top of the fifth dimensional body, passing into the top of your head, moving through your core, dropping into the bottom of your feet and going to the core of the earth while creating all around you the torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the third guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, rotating clockwise, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through your core, exiting outside of your head, and going into the top of the sixth dimensional body while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of your head extends, and it attracts now the energy of the fourth guardian, coming in from source, rotating clockwise, dropping into the top of the seventh dimensional body, passing into the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me the torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends, and it attracts now the energy of the fifth guardian, coming in from source while rotating clockwise, passing to the bottom of my feet, moving through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the eighth dimensional body while creating all around me the torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts down the energy of the sixth guardian, coming in from source, rotating clockwise, dropping into the top of the ninth dimensional body, dropping now into the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and creating all around me, and going to the core of the earth, the torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends and it attracts down the energy of the seventh guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 10th dimensional body, creating all around me the torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts down the energy of the eighth guardian, coming in from source while rotating clockwise, dropping into the top of the 11th dimensional body, cascading into the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and going into the core of the earth while creating all around me. The torsion field of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends, and it attracts down the energy of the night guardian coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 12th dimensional body while creating all around me. A total feel of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts down the energy of the 10th guardian coming down from source, rotating clockwise, dropping into the top of the 13th dimensional body, moving through the top of my head, passing through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and creating all around me. A total feel of neutrality. Begone time and space. The axis at the bottom of my feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the 11th guardian coming in from source while rotating clockwise, moving through the bottom of my feet, passing through my core, exiting outside of my head, and going into the top of the 14th dimensional body while creating all around me. A total feel of neutrality. The axis at the top of my head extends and it attracts now the energy of the 12th and final guardian, coming in from source while rotating clockwise, passing to the top of my head, moving through my core, exiting at the bottom of my feet, and moving into the core of the earth while creating all around me a total and fetal neutrality. Begone time and space. I know who I am. The God force and I are one. The stillness, the rest, and I are one. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you. Yeah. Sense of quiet power.
Yes,
Felt not Aryan Aries kind of warrior power, but a stillness and a power within that stillness.
that's the real deal. Yes, yes.
So good.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Mm.
Thank you all for being in the class tonight and for sharing this time with me. There's more to come. I can't wait to share more with you. Blessings, everyone. And thank you for listening, for subscribing, for being part of the family. And I will talk to you next week. Love you all. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Love you.